What's good, you guys? Daniel Cruz here. We back again with another episode of Cook with Cruz. I got a really dope video for you guys today. This beat I'm going to break down is going to serve a very good example here. I'm going to go over my writing process when it comes to writing chords and melodies on the piano. I know I kind of went into it a couple videos ago. It's actually fairly simple, even though the outcome might be a little bit complicated. But I'm going to be going into greater detail with that today to hopefully give you guys some inspiration and some insight on how you can really make your own chord progressions and melodies. Again, I'm not a teacher and I didn't learn to play the piano in any traditional way, just really play through experience and figuring out how to play songs. Also, I would really appreciate your guys' feedback if this video helped you or not when it comes to writing chords and piano melodies. Leave me some feedback on that, help me with that so I can in turn help you. Again, the whole purpose of these videos that I do every week is to give you guys some inspiration and insight on how I pretty much make music. So leave me some feedback in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. No more talking from me, we're gonna jump in and see this beat here. So there goes the piano progression that I wrote for this beat here. So it might sound complicated at first. I'm going to break this down to the very root of it so it's very simple and build up to where we have our progression here. Believe it or not, there's only two major chords that are going on right now along with a couple other transitional chords, but it's really just two chords going on right there. So if you watched my previous couple videos, the bass or the root notes are very important. They're going to direct what chords that I want to play. So for this progression in particular, my root notes for my chords are C and G sharp. That's it. So going back and forth between those two notes there. So now with those two notes, I can build a chord off of it. Somebody in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first chord I play is E flat major 7th. And then for the second chord I play, it's a C minor 7th. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe that's what I'm playing. But again, if we go back to our C and G sharp, I can now build a chord off of those two. So those are the big two chords that I'm playing for this progression here. And then I guess what gives it that complicated sound is this: I'm really just having fun and making a melody within the notes of those chords. So again, here's our main chords. And then now for the final progression, me just having fun and coming up with a melody, this is what we got. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And then once you get more advanced with it, I throw in some transitional chords. I believe there's another word for it. But they're used especially in R&B, and the notes in these chords can definitely come out of scale, which gives it that unique sound to it. But on the second half of that melody, my bass note, instead of going from C to G sharp, I'm going to come up C to E, then to G sharp, transitioning over. And then when I go back to my root, back to C, I'll go down to G. So I'll show you what that sounds like when you make them into chords. So there's our chords right there, and again, I'm just really having fun making melodies within those chords to get it to its final progression here. writing process, especially when it comes to R&B and the chords that come with that. Let me know if I was somewhat clear on that. Again, I'm really just starting with my root bass notes and then just building chords off of that. So yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, let me know if that helped you guys. Leave me some comments if you have any questions. I will definitely answer them. But that is pretty much my method on how I start and write progressions on the piano. But anyways, I actually make a full beat out of this, so let's take a look and see what I did here. So for that piano, that was in Keyscape, by the way, LA Custom C7 Cinematic. That's one of my favorite piano patches. All I did was just add a Q EQ preset here. I also added some background rain effects here, which adds a cool effect. I also automate a high pass filter in that intro to create a drop going into the verse here. So now jumping into the verse, I take our piano and shoot it up a whole octave. And then I also add a couple different background things here. Let's start off with Rev. It's a contact bank from Output, same people that make Exhale. Actually, I have it pretty quiet again. It sits in the background here, so you can hear it. And then I also add a couple different vocal chops here. You know, I gotta throw those in if they sound good. And of course, we're gonna need some bass here. So I pulled up Oscar Bass 3 in Omnisphere. Just added a real simple bass pattern for this one. Up instrumentation for this part. We're going to jump into these drums now, which are pretty simple. Start off with our snare. These close tats are actually from Contacts here. Yeah, so real simple drums. Just going to play it from the intro into the verse now so we can hear how it drops. So now moving on to the second part of the verse here. Our piano is going to come back down to the original octave we played it in. I record some live guitar on this part as well. I just play two basic simple notes. I'll show you right here actually. Sounds pretty boring and pointless, right? But let's go into our mixer here and see what we did to those two notes I recorded. Threw on some guitar rig, fuzz versus reverse split. That's the preset there for guitar rig. Also a little bit of EQ here. But now here's what our two boring notes sound like. Gave it a real ambient sound, and it's going to sit nice in the background here. Everything else is going to remain the same. Just add one little percussion loop here to the drums to fill it in a little bit. So now here's what it's going to sound like going into the second half of the verse here. come into our hooker break after that, and I don't really do nothing crazy for this part of the beat. Our big change is that our bass during the verse, those notes get sustained so they play all the way through. And then I also add another percussion loop just right here. Also threw in a stock flanger on it, which was crucial for this sound, and some reverb. And I also bring our rain back in, which we had in the intro of the beat here. So here's what it's all going to sound like together now. So there goes our whole beat done right there. Really hope you enjoyed this week's video, and I really hoped my breakdown of how I write the keys can help and inspire you as well. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please leave those down for me below. I will 100% get back to you on that. That feedback is super important to me. It allows me to help you better when I make these videos. So I really appreciate all the feedback. But yeah, there goes our beat for today. I hope it inspired or it helped you. But that is all for me this week. I will see you next Sunday. I'm out. Peace.